Hello, welcome to Fictional Narrative. I'm Neri, and it is Cozy Saturday. What happens during Cozy Saturday is I talk about the most recent cozy mystery that I've read. The first part will be spoiler-free, and then I'll give what I rated the book and a warning, and then we'll move into the spoilery part of the video, so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Just to note, I've been a little under the weather, so my voice isn't really as strong as it usually is, so if you hear a little difference, that's probably it. We've had a storm coming in, and my sinuses have been going crazy. So during one of my battles with my sinuses, where I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling absolutely miserable, I decided, okay, I've been reading a lot of my cozy mysteries through an app on my phone, borrowed from my library, but I want to feel an actual book, like the pages of a book and everything. So this is Death in a Budapest Butterfly by Julia Buckley, something that I've had on my shelf and I've tried to start for a long time, but I would put it down and then I wouldn't be able to pick it up again, or I would forget where I left off, because I'm actually really, really bad at putting bookmarks in my books, even though I have a ton of bookmarks. I really like those that have magnets on them, but the problem with those is they're really, really, really tiny. So Death in a Budapest Butterfly follows Hannah Keller and her family. They own a tea house, or would you call it a tea house or a tea shop? Well, a tea house. And they are very Hungarian. That does actually matter because there's a lot of the culture that gets tied into the story as well. So Hannah is a teacup collector, and unfortunately for her, her newest acquisition has been used as a murder vessel. So as I said, the Hungarian culture is woven into the story. It comes up in forms of superstition and in forms of fairy tales, mythologies, and all this good stuff. I think the author, Julia Buckley, does an amazing job portraying all of the characters, fleshing them out for the reader, and introducing them in such a wonderfully nice way that it doesn't feel like an info dump. But unfortunately, when we get to the actual mystery and we get to the suspects, one of my complaints is that it starts to become one. And the reason is, of course, kind of unavoidable, because they're in a tea house. Obviously, they have all of these customers, and the murder happens there. So any customer that they have there is going to be a suspect, right? So you have a ton of people that are being questioned. I really love Hannah as a character. She has a very inquisitive mind, and I think also because she's a teacup collector, she has to pay attention to all of these little details. So she catches on to a lot of details that do end up helping with the investigation. She is incredibly, incredibly clever. Honestly, all of the characters are extremely lovable. There is no slow burn romance in this, and I love my slow burn romances. It's okay, not every romance needs to be slow burn for me to enjoy it, but I do appreciate at least a little bit of a build up. This didn't really have that for me. What surprised me about this book, though, is that given that there's so much of the culture that is woven into it, with lore, with food, everything, we also kind of get the kind of supernatural end as well, with the incorporation of fairy tales and different lores and mythologies. So I did not expect that going in. It was a really, really nice addition, and it's nothing overt. It's nothing like there is a witch. Sort of similar to A Glimmer of Death, there's even less information for the character to work with, but she has to figure it out. So what did I end up rating this book? 4 out of 5. It was really, really good. Would I continue it? I might read the next one. The reason I say that is because I think it kind of works really, really well as a standalone. I could take it or leave it. I had a really fun time. If you want a really fun time, I think this would be a great book to pick up and make that judgment for yourself. But this is definitely a series that it's more like a will see for me. So now let's move into our spoilery. Little old ladies can be really mean. Like, really, really mean. The victim herself is an elderly woman, but she doesn't have the greatest reputation within that community. And so you get this like really great chapter or so where the investigators are using the tea house to basically question everybody there as a suspect. Our victim was there to meet up with a lot of women who are of her age within that community. They kind of have like a little club, and oh my gosh, little old ladies can be so mean. Like, this isn't even like news to me, but it's just like, it's never fun to think about. So basically, your suspect pool is a lot of little old ladies, and no one wants to point the finger there. However, because the investigators are like seasoned investigators, they're like, even if they're an elderly woman, that doesn't mean that it excludes them from doing it. Crime is kind of equal opportunity, so in that kind of notion, if you want equal rights, you also have to get the little old ladies who commit crimes. One thing that I felt the author could have done, though, in terms of the mystery, is let it be I have said that our character Hannah does pick up on tiny little details, and then the way that it reads is like she notices something, it seems out of place, her intuition is telling her like that's out of place, and she kind of shoves it off because she's like, okay, I'm at work, I have things to do. But later on in the story, she'll read like an old fairy tale and see pictures that are illustrated from said fairy tale, and then she's got an epiphany. And I don't mean like that's so Raven kind of epiphany, but like, oh, I just thought of something. I need to call the really hot detective, Eric Wolf, because of course we have a really hot detective. His name is Eric Wolf. The reason I emphasize that it is Eric Wolf is because his last name is Wolf, and it is far more memorable than the fact that his first name is Eric. I kept forgetting his first name, so I'm letting you know. I have said it at one point in this video. Eric Wolf. But to circle back, Detective Wolf is just like, thank you, Hannah. Yes, I will take all of this into consideration. Like, he was so good at doing all the detective stuff, being the matter of fact, like, even if all our suspects are elderly women, that doesn't mean that we have to go looking elsewhere, because it is possible an elderly woman could have pulled off this crime. Like, you can't discount her because she's an elderly woman. Yes, okay, fairy tale. I will take this into consideration, yes. No, but he, to his, like, to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? He definitely realizes that he's stepping into a situation where their culture, their Hungarian culture, plays a huge role. And what he doesn't know, he is, asking for the cooperation of Hannah and her family to help him out. And that's just what she's doing. I just kind of wanted a little bit more of a back and forth, because ultimately there's more to an investigation than that, and there was more of the investigation than her little epiphanies. Like, it helped him understand the culture and the fairy tale suspicions, the lore, but he did do the investigative work that moved the investigation along. So in that sense, I wish that he could have just put up a little bit of a fight. Like, let the mystery be hard. It's okay to do so, because you have this fantastic element of the killer themselves straight up becoming unhinged in the next few attempts, because there was one successful one and then there were further attempts, and it just got more and more and more unhinged. Like, the killer was just losing it slowly, and I think it would have added so much to the suspense. But that being said, I also think that a really great thing that the book gives us is the aftermath. We have a confrontation of the killer, and then we have the aftermath of everybody who was affected because of the other attempts, and because, this is a very tight knit community where even if people don't like each other, they know each other, they know about each other. And when there's a tight knit community, there's almost no mercy in how fast news travels. And so we see everybody, not just Hannah's family, who are affected by that and how they want to move on with their lives. Especially, we see the family of the victim. And I think that was also an extremely powerful thing to pull in, especially because of the reason that she was murdered. And it was so important to have her family there. And the victim's family was in Hungary and they had to come out. And it was so sad because you think, yeah, my relative is in a different country. I'm gonna go visit them. And then it's like you get that call. It's storming outside, which I don't know if you can hear, but it's great ambiance for this really sad realization. I hate to be a fickle person, but I know that I have kind of a fickle temperament. And I think that one of the reasons that this book works great as a standalone for me is because there are different stories of insta love that are within it. And our main couple kind of ends up being that. And I am not an insta love person. It's actually kind of one of my literary turnoffs. Do I believe you can meet someone and realize that they're the one quite quickly? Sure, yeah. Do I need to read it? I think it's something I'd appreciate from real life rather than my books. I'm not going to say that it killed everything for me, but I would have to read like the next book or the next few books for me to be like, yeah, I can see why I would want to continue. Like, I have to know what the next mystery is going to be like. And it's going to be based off that because I already think Hannah is an incredibly wonderful character. I love her. I love her families. I love her brother's girlfriend. Julia Buckley really created some incredible characters. Now it's just, what is the next mystery? That's kind of where I'm at. The mystery for the character is not as, I guess, demanding of my attention as the other books that I've talked about for Cozy Saturday. So that's why I firmly put it in a we'll see kind of territory. But regardless, I think it'll still be fun. I had a lot of fun reading it. If you've read it, let me know what you think. If you disagree with me, that is totally okay. And if you have a cozy mystery you want me to check out, please leave it in the comments as well. If you've watched this far, thank you so much, and I will see you next time, hopefully a little healthier. Bye!